So it's 6:05 and we can get started with our meeting. And we are going to do a roll call. Is that how you say roll call? So Marta Sharoni is here.
Tracy Young.
I'm still a guest because I don't think I've been put in front of the select board, but
Oh, yes, you have.
Kathy Pelton.
Well, that
Oh,
was,
I-
would have been
was I?
last night,
That was
right?
done. No, actually, it was the meeting before last.
Thank you so much for that.
No, you're done.
Great. So I guess
You're
I'm
done.
No, you got rejected. I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
really. I don't know why. Cool. Thank you very much. Cool. That's good to know. I was wondering how the notification might come along. So
Through.
I guess now I know.
Through.
Yeah, I guess it's through me.
Through Tracy. Thank you. So Kathy Pelton.
PLTON. Okay,
Mhm.
Kim Quirks here.
Joelle and Courtney.
And, yes.
And wouldn't, Kathy be required to do, there's an official,
Or do we accept her as the at the?
I don't
as a meet-
think we do anything, but I don't know if there's anything official either for these types of
She has to
committees.
do
yes,
the
Yes.
pledge thing. There's a
Oh,
pledge.
okay.
Yeah.
So you'll probably get an email from Alyssa
Okay.
Bennett
Saying,
Fair
please
enough.
come
some point
into
for
the town.
Alyssa Lineoff is her correct name now.
Uh-oh,
Okay.
it is. She
Yeah.
mentioned.
yeah.
How do you spell that? Just so I know.
Leinoff.
Oh, that's hard. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Once it gets in
So
the,
you'll probably get an email,
Okay.
but I also know that because it's budget season, she is
Slammed. Yep. I appreciate that.
and that's
so much.
okay. We'll accept you as a member
Great. Thank
already.
you.
Well, I say that. I think we can.
Yeah.
I would think so. Yes,
Yeah.
and I do remember, going to the office.
And I just wanted to let the committee know, I did make a job change recently, so I did change industries, but it does not reduce my interest in the energy committee. So,
Excellent.
I changed over to, I'm a CFO at River Valley Club now, so
Cool.
where I was 7 years ago. So
Okay.
Oh, you had been there?
I was there for 2.5 years previously, during the Joe Ash days.
Yes, I
Um,
heard those
yeah.
were tough.
but that was tumultuous.
It's, I am so hopeful for the future, so. And I am a member there. I've been a member there since before 2000 when my daughter was born, because I remember being
Wow.
pregnant and in their aquatics classes.
Amazing.
And so I've been a long time member there. And so hoping this might be my last stop before retirement,
Last real job.
if I can be so optimistic.
Well, maybe on our notes, we wanna warmly welcome
Thank you.
Kathy to the committee. So thank you so much for
Thanks.
serving. Yeah. So with that, we go to the approval of the September minutes, and I would love your input here because I might have missed some things. I got the name of the gentleman who is
Okay.
here, and so that will be
Yeah,
changed.
that's all I had. I read it.
And then a 0.000, I corrected
Yeah.
that to, there was 0.3 cents. So it was to, dollars and.
What was the name of the gentleman that was here?
Austin Kovac.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Well, while people are sort of looking over it, I'll
Okay.
start a motion to approve the minutes.
I didn't have any updates.
Because we can have a motion and a second
Yeah.
and then still talk
We
about
can
it.
do that.
So,
So I'll second it.
up to it. Great.
You beat me to it.
It looked quite thorough to me.
Yeah.
I absolutely love having the recordings available that are.
Oh, you can use them? Because
Yeah, I mean, I used them only for something detailed that I missed, but it's really, really helpful.
Rob Taylor is using them exclusively. He doesn't take notes anymore during his meetings.
Ah,
And
okay,
he simply goes back to the videos later.
I see. So there's no automatic transcription.
No, and I've suggested that to them, that they get Dragon or one of the other pieces of software, but it hasn't happened anywhere, but eventually I think it probably will.
Again, I've seen that elsewhere. I wonder if it's just something you can turn on.
But I don't think the town has it, so I don't think it'd be on that machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering if it was the Teams feature.
That's what I
maybe.
thought.
Yeah,
Teams feature, that's why I went.
maybe it's an added-in feature we could look at, because
Okay,
Dragon is
but
very good.
Anyway, that's something to keep an eye on, and it seems Yeah, important.
Mhm.
All right, so then if there are no additional changes suggested, then we can go to voting.
So I move we accept the minutes.
We already moved.
All right,
Yes, we are.
Yeah, sorry, I already
I-
wrote down that I motioned
Yeah.
and Joe,
Oh, okay.
was a second. So I'm not changing that.
Perfect. All right, so then one of our top agenda items is the discretionary fund and any updates on the community power, whether it's Enfield or the larger coalition.
On the larger coalition, I had mentioned previously that, I had contacted the 4 communities or the 4 member communities who were, who have added, a discretionary fund.
Oh, yeah.
And I did end up speaking with the 3rd one, and again, it was the same result that they have no concrete plan for use of the funds.
And did they have to go through a warrant article and
No.
town hall? It was actually,
I mean,
They
it
just-
couldn't have gone through a warrant article because this just became available in July.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
do any of them have any sort of a written description of what their thoughts are? Any of those other towns?
I have a lengthy email response from one of them, which Kim saw. I'm sorry, you're asking a description of what they and
Of what
thinking about doing?
yes, of what their plan might be.
Yeah.
More in an effort to plagiarize it.
Well, that's
Well-
what we did with Nashua, because she gave us her whole slide deck. So that's what we did at this last meeting was
Oh, yeah,
her slide deck
I see.
conforming to Enfield's goals
Yeah.
and our
sure.
community power
sure.
plan. So yes, we did plagiarize.
Yeah.
Fully plagiarized. Now, moving on.
Moving on.
But to finish that update was, so we did that invitation to the public to learn more about discretionary funds at our last committee meeting.
Yes,
And we had planned on being at the select board meeting to kind of give them the same thing yesterday, but they made it clear they weren't going to be able to do it at the top of the meeting and offered that we move it to November 4th. So I'm planning on doing that on November 4th. A very similar slide deck. And the one thing I wanted was, and I think you have it now, Marta, was the link to the video.
yes. I
And
think
we want to put it up on the website and make it available.
question I have, is it okay to put the whole meeting? Because I think what we were hoping for is to just get the chunk
Yeah.
of the presentation as opposed to the whole thing. I mean, the easiest would be just to put the link there, honestly, but I wanted to ask
You
that.
know, what you could do is if you go through it kind of fast and find the part
Yeah.
that like minute 2 to minute 30,
I
you know,
could
or
do
something, then at least we can guide people to that.
Yeah.
They don't have to watch the whole thing.
I think that would be very helpful,
And then we don't have to try to find a video editor and.
right? And
Okay,
it
yeah.
would also cover us for some of the comments we might have made later.
Yes, that's true. And people won't want to watch the whole thing.
And we don't want them to watch the whole, well,
It's a public meeting.
I'll speak for myself. Given, how our meetings go sometimes, and we end up saying things that, I mean, it's fine that it's recorded, but you don't want it publicly promoted. Let's put it that way. At least I feel that way.
Okay, so, that's so on my action item is to put the link there on the website and just indicate the minutes when it runs the presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, so which means that once that is available, because one of the action items was to create some communications out of that slide deck.
Right.
Right.
And so,
We have that link.
With the
and
link.
We can put it on listserv. Yeah, that's one of my action items that I was waiting for the link, so.
yeah,
Hey. And also go into the newsletter, right?
yes,
And considering today's the 22nd, we have a little time.
So that sounds like an action item. I'm trying to grab it now.
Okay.
Is it Marta who's doing the
Yeah.
the newsletter, right? And I'll do the listserv.
Yes. So in fact, I'm gonna change then, okay. I'm putting myself in action, okay. Great, anything else? I think we should talk about our next steps, though, review the next steps on the discretionary fund, because it's gonna be the presentation. And is there anything that is needed?
So, yes, at the end of the presentation, I'm gonna do this pretty much the same presentation that we had here, but at the end, I'm going to have a warrant article, template. And ask that the select board consider this or help us modify it to what they would consider and to adopt it. And I think they might be able to do that at that meeting, or they might ask us to do something and come back with another version of it.
It's more likely, especially because I know what the calendar is for that November meeting, and it's got some important discussion.
It's already
going
got
on in it.
heavy stuff going.
Yeah.
They did say we can be at the top.
So, and that's great, you should be. But I think it'll be a thing where the select board will probably say, let's review it and get back to you,
Yeah, that's
At a-
fine with
at a-
us too.
meeting 2 weeks later or even a
Whatever.
month later.
Yeah, rather than trying to wordsmith. I wasn't expecting.
Rather than
wordsmith.
trying to,
Right.
but if you have it prepared
I think I'm gonna try.
and you want to give it to Alyssa, then by all means, please do that ahead of the select board meeting.
Okay.
And she will distribute it to the select board.
So that way they will have had an opportunity.
Exactly, so that there will be an opportunity to read it, think about it, and be prepared to at least understand what's going on. But I wouldn't suggest that you could expect a decision that night necessarily,
Not necessarily,
necessarily.
I know. If it's as straightforward, it's possible.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Kim, would you like input on that? Let's take a moment for the notes, but.
Probably. So yeah, instead of just sending it to Lisa ahead of time, I should probably send it to this group, although we can't talk about it.
But we can,
Email.
you can,
Send it out and you can send me feedback individually.
Yes, individuals can go back to you and that's not considered a meeting.
Okay, so what I do is I send it out to everybody and everybody's on the BCC. So
Right.
that if they reply, they're only replying to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great. Oh. Anything else on this topic or?
Not on that topic, but
Okay.
on the topic of a warrant article. Clarify my recollection, the warrant article potential for the purchase of the solar array across the parking lot would not be this town meeting, but would be a year from this town meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had that, that's what I thought I
I think
recalled.
it's reasonable that this town meeting, we're gonna be asking people to set up a fund. Like a TIF district fund or like a.
Yeah, and then a year from now,
We'll
if you
start
will,
having some money. in it.
compose
So,
the
yeah.
warrant article for the purchase of the
Of a
solar
particular
array
thing, yeah.
and how it's funded.
If that's the right way to go. And maybe a year from now, things will change and there'll be some grant that comes in that says, we want towns to buy their PPA solar arrays. We're gonna give you
Oh,
money.
that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eyes open.
Let me know what drug that is. But anyway, yeah, politically, I think that'll be a difficult one.
It's a good one, though. I mean,
It's a
people
great-
want it because, municipalities need that kind of help.
Are there other municipalities that have that
PPAs,
sort of,
yes. A lot of them have done that because it takes nothing to get, not nothing, but you don't have to go to a town meeting to get
right,
that.
found an investor who
Yeah.
who was
Right.
willing to,
And all the town is deciding is to pay this person for their energy supply or their traditional Liberty utilities. And, so from that perspective, it didn't require. a
so
town
for our own knowledge in the future, if we knew who those towns were and what success they've had in doing that transfer.
Yeah.
Back to municipal control, I think that would be great.
meeting. And then New Hampshire might have some thoughts on that.
That's a great.
If the select board knew Plastow, for example, purchased it under that program. It had been independent and then they purchased it. it would be good, I'm using Plastow as just a town example that's nowhere near here and therefore wouldn't count. Well,
But let's say Plainfield, because they are near here and they probably do have something like this.
they might,
That's great.
but it's always good if the select board has knowledge of
Examples.
a community who has had a similar effect.
Great idea.
I'll, follow up on that. On who, which communities have done that.
Oh, I'm just writing a ton of action items.
Great.
Yeah, Kathy, don't worry.
You can get some later.
Don't feel left out.
I won't, not this month anyway.
Awesome. So we can pivot to the next agenda item, which is about, unless,
Community power still.
Yes.
okay.
I have
community
another
power.
community power.
Okay, then, okay, let's stay.
There's a board meeting on Thursday and we will be approving 3 more communities. So it's almost up to 70.
Wow.
What communities just off the top of your head, do you know?
Off the top of my head,
Canaan? Oh, were they already?
Oh, is Canaan already approved?
No, I guess they're thinking about it. But
Still
they're-
mulling.
oh, wait a minute, Canaan is the member.
Well, they are a member.
They are a member. They're not receiving energy yet, but they're a member.
Right.
So there's members and then there's those who have gone through the next step to actually be
Receiving.
using the energy. So we have 36, we just added quite a few more who are receiving energy. I
Correct.
think we're up to.
But on a local basis,
40
knowing
something.
Canaan is now a member,
Yes,
that means the high school is now a member.
yes.
Yeah.
And that will affect
The
the
high
school
schools.
budget.
If they aren't already taking a separate supplier, then they will automatically go to, well, again, automatically when Canaan automatically starts getting energy, which they may have to go to a town meeting.
Yes, they're going to town meeting in March
Oh,
to,
okay,
right. So the steps are that you sign an agreement.
right.
And they,
And you're a
Canaan has
member.
done that, so has Cornish. But then the next step is getting to town meeting for town approval.
Right, I recall
We
that
did.
for Enfield,
Right,
yes.
and 2 public sessions before that, or however many you have to do, I think 2.
I think they have to do a couple of public
Yeah.
hearings
Yeah.
before.
Well,
that.
they're planning those right now, so they'll be ready.
Okay.
Right.
So hopefully post town meeting in the spring for Canaan, we would see the local effect.
Right, however, the expectation for launch for next year is June. Or October. So,
So won't hit the budget till the year after.
right,
Actually, are they probably on the July to July budget, like are most of our towns, or you don't know?
Actually, Enfield is on a calendar year.
Okay,
It does vary, and I don't know what the school budget calendar is.
well, we do, at our
Hi.
town meeting, we approve
Yes,
budget,
post
so,
facto,
isn't it, oh,
post facto.
Okay.
When we approve it at town meeting, we're actually 2.5 months already into it.
we've already been
but
using it.
that's calendar year
Yeah. that's
Correct.
what We're
for
calendar.
the town, and you're saying for the school, it's the same.
No, I don't know that for the school.
Okay.
I don't know what the calendar, they could have they could have a fiscal calendar and I don't know.
I can find that out easily, because, Hope, who is the chair of the county,
Yes,
is also on the budget committee for the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So I can find out what their budget year is.
Yeah, that's super relevant. And you can see the effects of becoming a member pretty significantly.
Right. So, yeah, because we're having the, board meeting on Thursday and there's a membership meeting on Friday. And as I said, at least 3 more communities are signing up. Which means that they will have now the support of the coalition.
So also, yeah, the membership meetings only happen once or twice a year, and they certainly encourage not just members, because they're all public and open meetings, but anyone who's interested. And and there's, a website, cpcnh.org, that has the meetings listed. And you can just log into a meeting, kind of the way we do here. You can click on the meeting. So I think the membership meeting, which is probably more interesting than the board meetings for people who just want to listen in, is Friday and probably starts at 9.
Yes, 9.
And actually,
Does cbc.org list the towns that are already members?
oh, yes. So here we go. I'll just give you a little. So if you go to cpcnh.org. So for instance, this meeting minutes here. There's a calendar and here's the Friday membership meeting. And there's your access. Oh, the access to documents. And then there's the Teams meeting thing. So anybody can go. And it does say 8 AM, but I'll bet pretty
No,
sure
but
8 to
that's-
9 is food for people. It's an encouraged to be there, but it's way up north.
Sanborn.
East.
It said Sanborn.
Sanborn.
Yeah.
So you could definitely come, physically come. But for people who don't want to travel and spend the day, I'm taking half a day off to do this. Then you just log in there. And then to your question about what's on this website, just to go back. Here we go. Membership, here we go.
Great.
Oh,
And once you become a member, they make.
Where's Enfield? Find Enfield on that? There we are.
It's in alphabetical order.
All right, they're using the old logo. Okay. thanks.
Well, you know what it is?
I like
It shows it.
Yeah, we actually made this logo based on a logo.
Well, that was probably the
before.
logo at the
Yeah,
time
at
that
the
we
time.
joined, certainly.
Exactly.
We only
So
just changed the
that's
logo
that
within the
logo.
last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody gets this
I
change.
didn't ask you for that reason. I'm just curious.
Well, you didn't know it would have.
It would be a good tidbit to put in the newsletter, the link to
Yeah, that's a
the
good point.
cpcnh.org website for anyone that might be
Yes.
interested.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll make a
Okay.
note for Joellen and for Marta,
It's me.
for all of us. Yes,
Yeah.
Marta and me. Add the cpcnh.org link. That's it.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Oh, there was one other thing. What was the other thing I was thinking of associated with community power? No, I guess not yet anything else. Well, there's good discussions about projects and how CPC, oh, I know, how CPCNH can buy people's recs. If you have solar on your house right now, there's a problem that you can't easily go to community power because you might lose the nice benefits of exporting your solar and getting credits for it. But a lot of people have sold their or could sell their recs. The RECS is the renewable energy credit associated with a megawatt of power that you make at your house. And so CPCNH is registered to be able to buy those RECs. And the reason we wanted the coalition wants to buy the RECs is because people who opt up to cleaner energy, we have to buy those RECs from somewhere. And buying them from local people, creating local solar energy, and from local farms that we help to develop in New Hampshire is the best way to do that. So that program will be coming out pretty soon. And when Joelle and I figure it out, we'll make sure we tell everybody, because it's the first way that people with solar in Enfield have a way of at least just being involved a little bit with community power. They're not going to be able to buy their power yet, but they can at least sell their RECs to the community.
If they sell their RECs, are they then eligible for community power rates?
No.
So that doesn't get around that.
Well, we don't know.
Work.
You can't you can't get your supply from community power, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's your question, and the answer is,
It is.
no, we haven't figured that piece out yet.
The state hasn't either, I
Right.
know.
Right, it's a state level thing, it's
Yes,
not.
I didn't know if that was a potential workaround. But
It's
it's not.
not, it's only a way that people who have solar can be part of the community in some,
Yes,
the power community in some way.
sure.
May I ask a clarification question? What is the default? So if I have,
Good question.
I don't know.
Finish the whole question, so.
Okay, yes, so so if I have solar, which I do on my roof, and if I don't sell to either Liberty or Community Power, I could keep them.
Mhm.
Or I guess the default is that they would go to Liberty, the utility that
Yeah.
you're.
Yeah,
Of choice.
unfortunately, the default has been, if you didn't sell your Rex and I didn't sell mine either, the default has been that the utilities get to split them up and call them theirs, which is just wrong in my mind.
Is there anything that
Because it's
can be
giving
done?
them away. You could have retired your Rex, but you have to spend money to retire your Rex because the only way to retire them is to have them be counted. And the only way to count them is to hire a service that counts them. So it's a monthly fee just to say I'm retiring my Rex so that nobody else can use them. So this is better than that because if you can, you still have to have something that counts them. So some people who've put solar up a long time ago, and I'm actually one of them, I don't have a meter that's formally revenue grade that will count Rex. So I would actually have to add that to my system to be able to count the Rex, to be able to sell them. I still might do it because I'd rather do that than have Liberty and Eversource claim my Rex without my,
What sort of cost is that to you?
probably $1,000. It's probably not little, and you're only gonna get that, you'll make it back in a couple of years, but not right away. Like you'll only get hundreds of dollars for
For
your
the
Rex.
Rex or percentage of?
Actually, Rex
very
are
small
selling right now.
percentage?
Yeah, so Rex are selling right now for like $25 to $30 per megawatt hour. And so a typical, let's say a typical house has, my house, and maybe it's a little bigger than typical, has 10,000 kilowatt hours. It makes probably, let's say 11,000 kilowatt hours a year. So, and that means 11 megawatt hours a year. So it'd be 11 times $30 or $25. And so that's the yearly, what you would get back for buying the Rex, if you bought the Rex, something in that order. And so yeah, if it costs you $1,000, put a meter in, but some solar systems, especially newer ones, already have revenue grade meters on them. So some people who have solar might not have to do too much work too.
All right, well, that's very important, and so that's another piece of information that we'll need to share.
When
in
we
due
understand it
time.
all, yeah.
Yes. All right, so with that, we can move on to the next agenda item, which is the budget. So there were a couple of action items for me in relation to the question of whether we needed to allocate more money or request more money for our budget. Like in our default, if we don't do anything, I think it's an allocation of 1,500 that Ed had communicated. And so the question was, is there a community resilience assessment project that we could spend money on or what else? And so I got in touch with the folks who are doing the community assessments for climate resilience. And they are busy incredibly, beyond
okay.
belief. Maybe it's because of all that Vermont has gone through with the floods and the recovery. So essentially, they say that the best time to re-engage with them would be the spring. So they would not be a good partner for right now. At the same time, I got a suggestion of a potential source of funding for this type of work, because a lot of communities in Vermont who are contracting this nonprofit to do this work of assessment, they have received money from a regional planning commission in Vermont. And so today I actually emailed our regional planning commission, which is the Lake Sanapee, Upper Valley Lake Sanapee, to see, they offer technical support, but I have not seen any grants available for municipalities, but I have asked what kind of technical support they would provide. And I'm in the process of asking the same question. I connected with Sarah Brock to ask about grants and vital communities. And then my next step is going to be looking at sources of funding from the Department of Energy to see. And one thing that I'd like to do is to watch that recording of the webinar on that is more federal funding, which I have not done yet. So that kind of gives you an idea, a little bit of the where we are with that expenditure. I mean, it belongs to the budget, but it's also a different item,
Mhm.
it is community resilience assessment.
Okay.
One idea that I'm gonna share, and then I'm gonna be done with this report, is that there are there's a UVM course that does this type of assessment, a class. So students are doing this assessment for Vermont towns. And so now at the moment, the professor is on sabbatical, so it's not happening. But I wonder whether Dartmouth might have like an equivalent, a service learning type of class, given that they have, what is it, a new climate futures lab or something like that.
Right,
that
and
they
the
have.
whole Irving Institute.
Irving Institute.
Plus the Irving
And the
Institute.
Severance Institute.
So that'd be my next step, to see whether we could actually bypass the whole, grant thing by engaging with volunteer work.
That's an interesting
You
idea.
have a contact there, I'm involved with it, directly institute.
I have a couple of contacts at the
Okay.
Irving Institute. Uh,
Maybe we could share.
but we could
share
connect
people
about
and All
that.
that. But-
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Kim's class of 82.
As a
had
whole
the money To
building,
build that building.
as a whole building
And that,
that I had
Good
nothing to do
transit.
with.
Oh,
No,
But
but-
class of 82 building, so I can be proud of it.
but yeah, you can go like I do to the open houses and meet the people who are running the programs.
yeah,
I've done some programs with there over the years.
So
And
Thayer
this is really
Irving
big deal.
Institute and the Tech School all have programs associated with climate and
Mhm.
energy and
Yeah.
stuff, so maybe they have. And they certainly have students that are looking for stuff, but, and I know they have classes that they often do. 4 or 5 students that have to do a project, they try to do a project out in the real world instead of
Yeah.
just in their
You
lab.
know, some people have done that. I've done 5 or 6 in the past.
yeah.
The people out there.
Yes, because there
Okay.
is a,
Yeah,
in,
later.
in the fall, there's a whole application. I was
Yes.
thinking about that, like of engaging with their I mean, actually, it's really the Tuck students, sorry, not the Thayer. To provide support to organizations in the Upper Valley. And so,
You definitely are. It's not usually an organization so much as could be an organization, but they're, anyway,
but I've
I've
been
had
trying to
enough
stay in
of
touch about.
4
so
or
that we
5
can-
of my own interest, including
Mhm.
hydrogen, and they set up really good teams
Mhm.
that work a whole semester or 2 semesters.
Yeah, Dad, I tried to get, sorry, Wendell, I tried to get a program going with them this year on, associated with, revision to see about, it doesn't matter what the details are, but, they rejected my idea, so.
Oh, who is
This was a Tuck or
Was it-
Thayer?
This was the Thayer
I
program.
see.
who is the professor involved? Yeah.
I don't remember right now, I'll have to,
Okay.
that was a couple weeks ago. And I didn't know him ahead of time.
I did, speak with, Rob Taylor about this, because we had talked about, the possibility of our planning. And we had talked about the possibility of having like a short overview by the company, so that he would know what it was about. To see if
I'm
there
happy to
would be
share.
interest.
That there's a 2-pager, I think, that we were given some
Oh.
time ago, so I'm happy to.
Okay. But he was interested, but couldn't commit. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And even if we don't work with this particular group, at least it gives an idea what the process could be like.
Yes.
Yeah. Because one question I had is like, okay, how does that, and does it
Mhm.
dovetail with the master plan? Because the master plan in theory could contain a resilience,
It does sort of, I mean, we read it and it has some nice words.
yes. There's more like, I mean, what I've read is more like recommendations
Yeah.
rather than a plan.
Yeah.
But I wonder,
There isn't going to be, I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't,
it is not a plan, it's
Yeah.
a master.
It's a master recommendation.
I mean, it's like the
Yeah.
30-foot
Yeah, yeah,
level.
yeah.
It's more than 30 foot. 3,000 foot.
30,000 foot.
There we go. Let's go
It's
to
gonna be
3,000.
30 to
Let's
sound
be an airplane. Let's get up there.
Exactly.
It's visions and intentions as opposed to.
Correct,
detail.
but there's nothing to hold people to it.
Yeah, true. Okay, so that, so is that an action item for me then to share directly with, I mean, should I just share with you and, or just do
You could go directly to him.
to
I mean,
to
you could
Rob and
pass it
copy
to-
you?
Yeah, that would be
Okay,
the simplest.
yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
I know at revision, we're seeing a lot of requests for resilient community building kind of stuff. And I know there's money out there. That's the only way they're paying for it. So there are grants and we just have to figure out how to get them. We were not eligible for that first round, the one that Sarah Brock's working on for storage at municipal facilities, because we aren't considered a deserving community. What's the word? I forget. We're not on the energy.
Yeah,
We're too rich.
it's tier
It's
two.
justice, the justice.
Yeah, it's a justice related one, and so there, only some
Right.
towns are eligible.
Mm.
But I know she's working on one, and I've seen, again, I've got 3 or 4 proposals I'm working on for people not in New Hampshire yet, so New Hampshire's probably still getting its act together as to what to do with some of the IRA money that needs to be focused for resiliency, but it's probably coming, so we just have to really keep our eyes open and
And there is no way to know more details, because you mentioned that towns are receiving these grants. Do you have a sense of which towns or?
so right now it's Massachusetts and Maine, I'm seeing it. It's
Okay.
not seeing it in New Hampshire. When I do, we'll be right on it.
Okay. Let's see. Well, because we're talking about grants, has anybody had the chance to attend that meeting on federal funds that,
I watched, part of it.
any comments, any suggestions?
No,
Okay,
it's always kind of like too much.
yeah, I've had that experience.
Well, I think, and is this what it was like? Cause I didn't see it myself, but at the federal level, it's like, oh, there's all this money and it's $30 billion and 50 billion over here. And some of it's for resiliency, and some of it's for EV and some of it's for this, but then it funnels down to your state and your state has to then do the work.
Exactly.
And your state, our state, New Hampshire, has to actually go out and first request the funds and say what it's for. So whoever we have has to work at the state level first. Then there can be RFPs for, towns and stuff to look at. So I don't know who does that in
I
our.
don't know if that was state, but it doesn't matter.
I'm thinking-
There is a part
We have a state DOE.
Of the US, I mean, New Hampshire government.
Yeah, New
has
Hampshire DOE.
money available for various projects and is waiting for us to ask.
No, they have to put out RFPs if they want to give away that money. They have to, they always have rules around who can apply for that money. So I think we're still at the stage where the New Hampshire, and I remember now, it is the DOE, the Department of Energy in New Hampshire, although did it just get a new name? It was an overhaul of something not too long ago. But anyway, they have to, they get the big chunk. 30 million, I don't know how much they get, probably not that much for New Hampshire, I'm not sure. And then they have to say, well, we want this much to be commercial, this much to be residential, this much to be whatever. And then they have to put together RFPs, which are long and laborious for both sides.
Maybe I'm looking at a different pool of money. It's.
Well, if you find a
it's
pool of money,
People, starting businesses without
oh, that's different.
suggesting that it's grant money and there's
Oh,
a lot
well,
of
it might be loans.
It's better money.
Well, there might be loans and that's good too, but and if you think there's something that the municipal can take advantage of, Joellen's collecting that information, so just send her an email, maybe that'd be a good idea if you find something like that. But yeah, if it's businesses, they have to show a profit and be able to pay back a loan and
It's not a
stuff.
bad idea.
They have to pay back a
Real
loan,
product.
profit, yeah, it's good for
More
business.
things will happen in the long term. Work that.
Yeah, one of the concerns I have, like, with that step that the DOE in New Hampshire, creates the RFPs, and then they come so late.
Yes,
It's
they
only
do.
like
I
3
know.
weeks, 1 month. And so I have not figured out a way to know ahead of time what they're cooking.
We can elect you to Senate or a House position, so you can be right up front where they're, and then you gotta get yourself on the Energy Commission or whatever, and then you'll tell us.
Like an insider.
Aren't
I
you,
mean, someone must know there.
Well, there are public meetings, right? So I would go to the DOE website if you have time.
I'm on there. It says municipal solar grant program.
Yeah, good.
$550 million was appropriated.
To New Hampshire alone?
New Hampshire will receive 1.6.
Oh, okay. That would be
To develop municipal solar grant program, a competitive grant program that provides funding for municipal solar projects whose total installed capacity does not exceed 60 kilowatt DC.
Yes, we actually applied for that one.
Great.
We didn't make it.
Okay.
We actually didn't get the application in time.
Okay.
Which is too bad, because it was a good one. And 60 would have been perfect for our new police building.
Mm,
So yeah, that was a good one.
Okay.
I don't know if it's over or if there's still time to apply for another building. That might be worth looking up.
mm. This is,
Is that a task
August one.
maybe for Kathy?
If you want to,
I can do
Kathy, if you
yeah.
certainly, if I'll put an action item so
this
that,
particular one was, done August 1st.
Yeah.
So that one sounds like the one we missed, but I can do some more digging
yeah,
around.
Kathy
Yeah,
will dig, I'm gonna say.
Sure.
At the New Hampshire
digging.
DOE.
Awesome. That's exciting.
There may be another round
Yeah.
of the same grant.
Yeah,
Sometimes the feds don't release all
All
the
of
money
it.
to the states at once.
yeah.
Right.
They hold back.
And like that one wasn't resiliency, so there could be other monies that then come through that are for some sort of, you know, more community resiliency program or something else. All right.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Well, we mentioned the master plan, but is there anything, any updates regarding the master plan? Because that was our next agenda item.
The next meeting is November 18th. We've received all 5 chapters, and we've had an opportunity to review them.
Mm.
And I had sent, the energy and sustainability to a few of you, to look at and give me comments back, which I did bring to the meeting and they were incorporated. Our next meeting is November 18th. We will be having a public, I'm not sure, information session, let's put it that
Mhm.
way. Sometime in early December. Because the consultants' funding must be completed by the end of December. So we've got kind of
And an end date.
an end date, right? So we're in the process, but we've got several meetings scheduled. The next one, as I said, is the 18th of November, and then there are a few after that. And I don't remember offhand.
Great. I mean, I was particularly pleased with the chapter on energy and sustainability.
Good.
That is.
And it's some of the topics that our visioning and the energy committee had brought up about, for instance, like walkability. That was covered in municipal facilities
Yeah.
and services. So there were things that we raised in our committee that were kind of brought in other places. So I think that it was pretty well covered.
I
Is that topic done before I bring up my, because I actually have to go back to.
If there's anything else on this, I don't think so. I was just gonna see if I had any more dates, because I should, but I don't recall.
think we're done with that.
Okay, I have to go back, sorry, I forgot one more report related to community power. So last week I attended the first annual CCA Community Choice Aggregation Conference in DC.
Oh,
I
right.
know I was, Dad was there, not at the conference, but at DC. It was really good for New Hampshire. But I say that because there's 12 CCAs, 15 CCAs out in California. There's a couple in Massachusetts. There's a couple in a few other states, like the total number of states that can do community choice aggregate, CCA's community choice aggregation, it's the basis of our community power
Yeah.
that we're doing here. And, really, it was the first annual conference because now there are like, I think it was eight or nine states that have the legislation available to participate in something like this. And then you have to have the willpower, and then you have to put something together, a whole program and everything else. And New Hampshire, even though we're the newest, the absolute newest one in terms of only having started supplying power a year and a half ago, we came up as an example in many situations. It was very exciting, and everybody wanted to ask us about how did we get there so quickly and so well, and why is it so popular? And other states have things they have to deal with related to either competition or opt out versus opt in, or something that just makes the program not really work very well, and not a lot of people join or whatever. The California ones are all doing really well, and they have a lot more of the same legislative support that we have in New Hampshire. But I just, it was just great to think we've got a good program here, like relative to other people, and also getting the visibility at a national level that's great for New Hampshire. So
You know,
it was fun.
And,
Marvelous.
this is a good thing that observing that the different states, the utilities cross borders.
They
And
do.
we've not divided that, which sometimes I'm a states rights, I like to see variety by states, but this has not crossed into a problem that might happen.
Well, I think that, again, that's some of the legislation that has been put in place recently, but also even as far back as 20 years ago, that make this possible. Some of that is related to not crossing states so much as crossing town lines, to be able to
Yeah.
aggregate across town lines and things like that, other states can't deal with. And so then only their big cities can do their own community choice. And that's not really big enough to have the kind of power to buy, at good rates and things like that. So it was fun to hear about what other people are doing and what their problems are, and it's great to know that a lot of those are not our problems. And this program's working pretty well.
We won't have a border war either.
Is
Only with
there,
Canada.
is there any, the same way that, for example, Joellen's been an ambassador for Community Power Coalition to other towns? Is that something like that? Is there something like that at the state level? Meaning, can our coalition, New Hampshire, work
Mhm.
to support other states?
Absolutely. Well, a little bit. And this would be the group. And I think the name of the group is I want to say LEAN, LEAN. So it's like Local Energy Action Committees. I don't, local aggregation is probably in there.
Okay.
And so that's the national group associated with how CCAs work.
Mhm.
And so, yes, that's the whole idea of this is the first conference, because before they were all just California, and they just all got together and talked.
Yeah.
Maine,
But-
No, Maine can't do it yet. None.
Hannah, the head of the Energy Commission of
Yeah.
Maine, and very deeply.
I know, but it doesn't help to just be, like, the PUC can't do this alone. There's legislation that has to happen at like 3 levels. Oh, it did for New Hampshire anyway. There was like literally 3 bills. If those 3 bills didn't pass, and the first one passed 25 years ago, then we wouldn't be in the position to be able to do this. And so most other states aren't in the position to do it, and may never be. So Vermont, for instance, is a good example, a leader in many other electricity energy related things. GMP is just doing a lot of this stuff on their own, like a lot of really good stuff and programs and innovating and stuff, but they're a monopoly. They are a monopoly, and the whole system is a monopoly. They can own their supply, they can own the distribution, and since they're a good monopoly, nobody's trying to break them up. But most other states did the separation of supply from distribution. And that was only the first step. And for
Yeah.
most states, that happened 25 years ago.
Maine.
Um,
Good job.
That time. It is fun to be on the forefront of something, our little state, New Hampshire. Since we're gonna lose our first in the nation voting, we'll be first in the nation of something else.
So the LEAN stands for Local Energy Aggregation Network.
Oh, yeah, there's an N at the end, network.
And
Yeah.
the conference was, the 2024 National Community Choice Aggregation.
Awesome.
Put that in here.
Yeah. Is that something that we would like to communicate about?
It probably,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I saw us excited about
Yeah.
it, so.
yeah, so we
Like
should.
that.
We should. I was thinking that maybe I need to do a set of listserv messages, little bites, sound bites, because you can't get into too much detail and people will just tune out.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
this lean thing might be a little deep for most people, but the select board might be interested.
Yeah,
So
totally.
maybe we'll try to throw a little thing in there that doesn't take too much time at the select board meeting and.
Yeah, just in passing, it's like, hey.
Hey, by the way. New Hampshire's getting some good kudos across the country here.
It's, everybody needs to know that.
Yeah, and they invited a one of the secondary, not the primary speaker, but a secondary keynote speaker was a senator from New Hampshire, right? What's her name? Rebecca Perkins. The second last name is something weird, but in any case, she was great. I mean, somebody in New Hampshire who really understands her electricity and her grid and stuff was really nice to hear.
Great to hear.
So, going back, if we're done with that,
Yes.
now I'm going back to the master plan.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's
We're
fine.
bouncing the ball here. So there are 3 upcoming meetings, November 18th, November 25th, and December 9th. I'm pretty sure that December 9th is when we're having the opportunity for public comment, so to speak.
But not the November 25th, only the December 9th?
The 25th is the week of Thanksgiving, and the answer is, I don't think that's appropriate.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's the 9th. That's it.
What are those meetings likely to be? And are we interested in going or just keeping in touch?
Well, I'm on the committee, so
Oh, we're going then.
Yes, we are
Good.
going, Joe Ellen.
I'm going, and we've provided a lot of input to them, and yeah, but it's mostly so that people understand that this is happening and that it's an opportunity for them to kind of engage. And see where we're going before it gets approved and printed, because I
Yeah.
believe it has to go to the select board. Actually, I don't know.
Approval,
Yeah,
acceptance and approval.
acceptance, yeah.
And do we have already some language in there of interest to us?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I could be refreshed with what that is.
We can send
Got a
you,
little screw on it.
It's a little late for that now.
a little late for input, but
Myself
you
in.
can certainly read it, right? Is it
Yeah,
public?
The. It will be later in November.
Mm.
Because all of the comments that the committee made at our last meeting was when
Appropriate.
we were reviewing this particular chapter. And
So
I
you'll
don't know
send it
about-
out to us when it's been updated.
I won't get it till, yeah, mid-November, but yeah,
I think that's good.
but you say it's already public, I can look it up
You might.
myself.
it isn't public,
Oh, it isn't.
no.
But I was invited to go to those meetings, but I didn't go.
Well, you could go to the meetings and you're
Yeah.
welcome to go to the
Yeah, you-
meetings, but you
Earlier.
just.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, and is there a chapter by name that you're focused?
energy and sustainability. It's just that it's a work in progress is my point, and there's been a lot of work already done on it.
You know, I think master plans should be continually work in process.
Oh,
One of the
absolutely.
problems, we think we're locking things down.
Yeah, we don't wanna
all the
lock.
time, and the world changes too damn fast.
Right. That's why it's,
Yeah, I know some.
it's a 30,000 view, 30,000.
some businesses decided not to have a master plan, but to have contingencies for what could go wrong.
Hmm.
And no, not a lot of detail in this world where you do the
It gets
job by
revised.
typing.
I think the old master plan is about 10 years old.
Yeah,
It's older, actually.
Is it even older than that?
Right, but it's, apparently there's an expectation or even a regulation that it needs to be done every 10 years.
Yes.
So, um,
Good. Well, thank you for going back and sharing that.
yeah,
So, question for us. We talked about communication opportunities. So that was one of the agenda items that I typically leave in the agenda. But we discussed that unless there's anything additional.
there is, and that is the clean energy, New Hampshire. There seemed to have been some kind of, goof up on the payment, which you were aware of. Apparently, we received an invoice in April. I brought it to the bookkeeper. A check was cut, mailed. And then 2 weeks ago, I got an email saying, gee, you haven't paid. It's like, why wait 6 months to tell me? you didn't pay? Apparently, the check was sent to their old address,
Oh.
not their new address, so.
Wow.
A check has been reissued. And the fee for the municipal, membership is 300, not 250. And that allows us to have two, spots at the upcoming, local energy solutions conference, which is November 1st. And for some reason, because I'm on her list now, I got the email last Friday saying, these are the benefits of being a member. And in terms of the conference, she said that she would register us, but I needed to give the name, email address, position, and allergies and preferences for anybody who wants to attend. And my understanding is that Kim wants to attend.
I'm happy to attend, and pay for it. I'm also a private member, so I get a 20% discount.
It's not necessary.
I know if we only have two people, I mean, if other people want to go, I just want to make it open that, doesn't have to.
So I'm not available on the first, sorry.
Me neither.
I was
Okay.
supposed to be out of town and now I'm in town for work, so,
Oh.
so my apologies, I can't.
that's football home coming in.
Yes, it is.
So then,
Or
if no
it's a
one else
Friday.
is going, then.
Yeah,
I
I'm happy.
can't go.
You can't go either. Okay, well then I'll take one of the tickets. Let's do
Okay.
that.
All right, and so food preferences, will I put just?
None, any, yeah, actually, do they have that as a
I don't
choice?
know.
Or vegetarian?
I'll
Sure.
give it a go.
I might be available for some piece of it. Is it, where is it?
It's in,
Manchester,
Manchester
Oh,
for the day. You've
I
been to them
could go
before,
for
remember?
one session somewhere.
well, do you want
If
me
nobody
to?
else wants a
to-
ticket, but
Yeah.
don't,
Okay,
but if,
but-
yeah,
Let me just hesitate a minute because I have some
Sure,
house guests. But it'd be. Does it cost anything? And if it doesn't work,
we
don't-
get two registrations, and Kim's gonna use one, we have another one available.
well, I'll look at it and if I tell you yes later,
Sure,
by
thank you.
by Friday is.
Yeah,
the
by
time of
Friday.
day. You have to sign up by.
Well, give it to someone else if they ask.
but there's,
So
So
anyway.
far, yeah, so far nobody else has asked, but this is the first time we're talking about it at the
Oh,
committee,
right.
so.
yes, because I could
What about
invite,
Charlie or,
I have made it available to Canaan other years.
are they not a member? Themselves?
I doubt it, since they really
Oh, yeah,
don't
well,
have
they-
an energy committee
they'll
except for the.
Take it, don't hold it.
If somebody like,
Remember the fellow?
oh, what's his
Jan?
name?
Hope or
Hope, yeah,
Chuck.
or Chuck Townsend.
Yeah, Chuck.
Yeah.
Townsend.
That would be
Yeah, that'd be
nice,
great.
put to them first, and then if they don't want it.
Okay,
later.
I'll
Yeah.
do that.
Thank you, Joelle.
Sure.
That's great.
Okay, that's my thing, but they said they would register people, so I will let them do that.
Awesome. Yeah, and so anything else that any update, for example, I had a possible update on the new buildings. If we want to talk about that, it's 7:04. So I've read a message, I should say this, that the library is moving back.
Oh, they're ready to move in?
Oh,
Well, no, not quite.
No, they're getting ready.
The projection is that construction will be completed by early December. The library needs to close for 1 month
Ooh.
to
get everything
repack,
in.
plus a lot of their books are in storage.
Get it all.
And then they're having new bookcases built, so they have to be installed, but they'll be closed
For a month.
probably they'll be closed for a month. I suspect it'll be from early December to early January,
Yeah,
and then they'll be
good.
open back up again.
Exciting.
But the building is well along, in terms of finishes. Yesterday and the day before, they've been putting the air handlers, up on the roof. And so they're getting very close. The electric is now tied in, or will be tied in this week. So that will take care of that issue. So they're progressing very nicely, and it's projected that the town itself, municipality, will probably move in early January.
Great.
Hmm.
And on the emergency services building side, they're also moving along nicely. They hope to be weather tight by Thanksgiving.
Good.
And they'll be able to work primarily inside, but also, of course, if weather permits, work outside and do finishes and things like that. The completion date for that building is not until early summer, late spring. So 6 months into the next year, but they're on track.
Great.
And timing, construction wise, it'll be good that they'll be weather tight by, Thanksgiving or so. And they were yesterday, tying in water and sewer, from Granite Place, which is the name of the street that's to the left of the
Mhm.
emergency services building, and that's actually going to become a town road, that little,
Oh,
it just becomes, rather than coordinate with all the people that use it, and this way the town doesn't have to ask permission
Yes.
of a
might do
bunch of
anything.
people. Because Hess uses it, the Granite store will use it, and although they're closed, the former healthcare operation used it. Lynn Care,
Mhm.
but they're closed now.
Hmm.
But this way, if the town takes it over as a town road, then they control it more or less. But it's nice to know that they're on track and things are
Yeah.
progressing
Yeah.
that way.
That's
I
great.
drove by there today and the road was closed. to
That's tying in the water sewer.
Yeah.
And, so they had to do a little bypass situation for everybody there, but
Is Lynn Care still in town?
they own the building, but the building's for sale. I don't think that anybody's operating out of it, because they've now been purchased by some mothership.
Really?
Uh, so I think they closed the local branch.
Sounds like a guaranteed business.
Okay.
And
Are you looking for a motion to adjourn?
I was,
Okay.
I was asking one last question, but we don't have
Go
to
ahead.
to
Go
take
ahead.
it. Well, if anyone knows anything about the big project, the Laramie Laraway, I got lost on the name.
That's in court, although they have gone ahead and talked to the planning board and made preliminary entrees to the zoning board as well. So they're moving ahead. But the project is being challenged in court, and that won't be decided until mid to late November in terms of height.
Okay, well, it's just because we talked about, being on the lookout for an opportunity to talk
Consult
about.
or,
Yeah.
yeah.
to
energy
advise.
The other one, which has just recently evolved, is that the town has agreed to a letter of intent for the purchase of the Shed Street property.
Oh, good.
And a contractor by the name of Oaks is putting 2 large apartment houses, buildings
Oh,
on that road. It's gonna
That's what
propose
they're
it.
proposing, yeah.
At this point, all that's been decided is that the town has agreed to a letter of intent to do the final negotiations for the sale of the property. But that's progressing. Shed Street, which is the former 20-year ago location of the DPW. that has sat idle except for those two big barns that were there forever. So that's all cleared off and everything, and the soils have been declared clean, and so Oaks is hoping to come in there and
Yeah,
construct two large buildings with 48 units
Wow.
over the next 3 to 5 years, but basically he would get started once it gets through all planning and zoning. So he could begin a year from spring of 25. It could be the
Mhm.
spring of 26 that he would begin.
they seem to be doing a good job around.
They've just constructed that very large self-storage facility that we all see on the way to
They got a lot of
interstate, and that's theirs.
To that guy, yeah, that's there, because he's thinking of
That's
putting
theirs.
solar on that, and,
Yeah,
he also is thinking of putting solar on his home, and he's a tree guy, so he.
then you have
Take the trees
another,
down.
another topic you can talk to him about
Yes,
then.
except I decided not to use them to take my trees down.
There won't be a great deal of property available. It's a pitched roof. The buildings he's proposed are pitched roofs. The architect is Chris Ross.
How many height? How high?
3
Three
story,
stories.
yeah.
Pretty
So
good size. They're gonna
the
get.
ridge is about 37 or 38 feet. That's where they need an appeal.
Yeah,
Just above the 35-foot mark. And then there's actually a tower, which is about 40 feet, but that's actually, there
Rob-
are exceptions actually. for
I was gonna
towers.
say, cause, well, Rob came to my house saying, can I measure your peak?
Yeah,
And I
Exactly.
said, sure, what do you wanna do that for? And it was because he wants to know what peaks, what's the height of the houses, the buildings that are already on Main Street
Yeah.
in this area? And mine is over 35. What's the current, like?
35.
Yeah, mine's like 37.
But remember, the 35 didn't come along until the 1980s.
Yeah, yeah, it was well after
didn't
my
even
house was,
exist.
right, that's why he wanted to know what some of the old
One of
buildings
the
were.
tallest one on Main Street is, of course, Whitney Hall.
Oh, it's not Copeland Block, yes, because it has the
Yeah,
cupola thing,
You know,
yeah.
I mean, Whitney
Right,
Hall is, I'd have to, I've seen it, but it's about 50 feet tall.
Yeah.
So.
I heard we might have a coffee shop,
Yeah,
And
and
a
a
coffee shop has been
microbrewery.
proposed for the former,
yes.
civil engineering office.
It was the vintage clothes shop, and it was the, Erigo before that,
Right, I guess I don't know that Erigo even, I think that's just retirement, really.
no, well, they
Did-
moved to Ithaca.
Yeah. they
Oh, is that what he did?
Yeah, he moved the business.
Okay. So anyway, yes, they're talking coffee shop in the front of that building.
Yeah, that'd be
So
great.
that
We
would
can
be
walk to
interesting.
that.
And of course, across the street,
The microbrewery, we'll see if that ever
it's the
happens.
brewery,
It, you
which
know,
has gone through planning and zoning, and they're actually talking about not only a sampling brewery, but also bottling. So they're looking at retail,
Interesting.
interesting, yeah. We'll see if he can get that done, cause it's.
not a bar and grill, but by law, they have to serve food. And the suggestion was made, go across the street, buy your food, bring it across the street, and then don't set up your own restaurant.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that would be a wonderful thing if they followed through on that.
Yes, it would, because it would benefit both.
It really would, and it answers the legal question because you're supposed to have food.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do, but they're progressing. There are people working on that building today.
I'll ask them. Mm.
And then in case anybody's wondering, it knows a business that wants some space. Revision's moving out of my lower floor of my first floor by the end of the year.
Mm.
Oh,
They're just moving up to
they're gonna consolidate in the,
in the
they're
garage.
gonna take down the sign.
Yeah, yes. Take down my sign?
No,
Oh.
the Enfield garage.
Yes,
sign.
no, because I think she wants Enfield Garage, but we're gonna try to get a bigger Revision Energy sign up there.
Yeah,
And they did take over the hairport or the
Mhm.
so the
hairdresser.
airport is now,
It's now the office for Revision Energy. So
okay,
they don't need an office down on Main Street.
Mhm.
So I'm looking for a new tenant, possibly, if somebody thinks they know of anybody who might want to rent commercial space.
Well, Rob Taylor is,
Just gonna send him a note.
promoting this, not forum, or whatever, on, November 14th. And it's through the Upper Valley Sunapee Regional Planning Committee, talking about
Main Street.
Main Street.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, because
Mhm.
what we're talking about is all this stuff that's
On Main
happening on.
a survey has just been released the other day.
I've already filled mine out.
I did mine also, asking about opinions on Main Street. It's a simple little questionnaire type thing. I don't know whether he's got a grant that he's looking at or what that's all about, but I don't think it's really part of the master plan as much as
No, it isn't.
it's, the way I read it was the potential of getting some grantmanship.
But again,
For
it's
Main
through
Street.
it's through the regional planning,
Yeah,
so it's not,
Mhm.
they were looking at it,
right.
so.
Is that 35
And
feet, same on my side of the four,
It's townwide,
even along the water?
yes. And on the 4A side, of course, the tallest building is the original Shaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Residence,
Yeah.
which is,
Stone building.
5 stories?
yeah, it's about 60-something feet.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
doesn't mean I could do that on my 57.
Probably
You
not.
can do anything you want
No,
if you
no.
get an exception.
Well, yeah, if
I
you,
mean,
if
the
you can get an
35
exception.
feet
Okay, that's a good
is,
point.
Just something that was picked
Okay, I'm gonna make.
very arbitrarily,
Yes.
I'm told, in the 80s, based on what a ladder can reach.
I'm
So,
moving to adjourn the meeting.
I second
We
it.
can, you can
Second.
keep talking after that.
but the reality is, all the buildings now are sprinkled by code requirement. So for example, at Laramie Farms, the height requirement is negligible. No one's gonna go up there in a ladder. This isn't 911 on TV. This is, the sprinklers turn on,
Yeah.
and the building is entirely, drywall,
Mm.
has fire protections and sprinkled. So the modern building codes
Thank you so much.
don't
Our next meeting.
mean bring in a ladder.
When is our next meeting?
Thank you.
You
Good
haven't
question.
said anything about the,
Because it will be too close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
wondering where it was gonna land on the calendar.
Okay, let's check.
57 and the next house, which I owned for a while.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, it could be the 9th.
To actually.
Which is
Some are not.
probably the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, some are not, and I
I
think
know
that,
that's an issue for
yeah,
people.
zoning has to
Do we
deal
need
with
to
those
meet?
sorts of things all the time and grant.
Should we can we have
Special
one meeting
exceptions on an
between
as-needed
November and
basis.
December?
I was
And
proposing.
both of them are too close to the holidays.
Neighboring shareholders.
Also December
Maybe December, you know, like first week in December instead of.
Yeah, it's 24th.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he owns
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah,
but he
We
enforces.
have to notice it and everything.
Controls it
People
well.
won't know that if we do.
Well,
We have an important question. Sorry to interrupt here.
Sorry.
So that Kathy raised, the next meeting in November is really close to Thanksgiving. It's the 26th of November. And the December meeting is the 24th of December. So in
Holidays.
both cases, really, really close to the
Mhm.
holidays. So one suggestion Kim made is that maybe we just do one meeting in between the holidays and.
Early December,
Yeah, early
either the
December.
3rd or the 10th.
Yeah,
Not the third.
How about the 10th?
And the reason not the third is because both Canaan and Cornish are having public hearings that
Ah,
night.
you're gonna
And
go to
I
one of
really want to be at least at one of them.
How about the 10th? How does that?
I'm
look
fine
for
with the
everybody?
10th.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fine.
that's a Tuesday, the 10th?
Mm,
Yes.
And we have to get the room, we have to notice it, whatever.
I
Elisa
have
tells you.
to
Do
that.
deal with that with Elisa, okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna go for the 10th. Is that okay, Tracy
From what I can see on my calendar right now, yes.
and Kathy for you?
Thank you.
Wendell?
I think that's a logical choice.
Possible.
Great.
Great, thank you.
When Whitney Hall does open up, there will be plenty of spaces there for us to meet.
Yay,
No
it'll
longer
be fun.
meet here.
Okay.
Wonderful.
There'll be at least a couple of different spaces that have the owl.
Will they have this?
Yeah.
Zoom?